A collaborated effort amongst Spokane, Western Washington, Los Angeles, and the DEA brought down a West Coast drug ring. Overall, 41 people were charged in an alleged conspiracy to distribute OxyContin. 12 of the 41 were from Spokane. In Spokane, agencies raided 16 residences. A California teen was shocked at what she found when she decided to play detective in her high school's locker room. Justine Betty decided to hide in a locker after several of her classmates had money stolen during gym class. She caught the thief on video with her cell phone. It turned out to be a very popular teacher of nearly 30 years.
I didn't want to believe that she would do something like that because she was so nice, but then she did it.
The principal asked Betty to delete the video, but it was too late. It had gone viral. Betty says taking the video was a difficult decision to make, but it was the right thing to do. A 21-year-old man shot by Seattle police has died. Police say the man had threatened both his father and pursuing officers Tuesday night. The Seattle Times identified the man as Jack Kiwatinawin. Police say officers responded to a report of a man holding a knife to his father's throat. When officers tried to arrest the young man, he fled. A stun gun was ineffective at stopping him. Police say that when one officer pursued him, the young man grabbed a metal bar and came towards the officer. That is when officials say 3 officers fired. The saying has always been, "Dog is man's best friend." A veterinarian in Ohio may want to update the old adage. The deer's name is Dilly, and she has lived with this family for a decade after her owner brought her back to life. Recently, Dilly has become an internet star. She has her own Facebook website and webcam, which has more than 1 million viewers. One can only assume a Disney movie is in the making. The Greek community recently partnered up to show support for Boston after last week's bombings. The event Cougs for Boston, hosted by Sigma Alpha Epsilon fraternity and Alpha Gamma Delta sorority, raised $1,600. Letters of support were also gathered. All proceeds went to the Red Cross in Eastern Massachusetts to support those affected by the Boston Marathon bombing. Dani Van Slyke here with your sports. Break out the brooms. The Cougs have been swept. The Cougars lost 4-3 in the final game of a 3-game set against Gonzaga last night in Spokane. WSU jumped out early, scoring 2 runs in the 3rd inning. However, they were outdone by the Zags, who scored 3 runs in the 5th. Next time the Cougars will be on the diamond is Friday when they host California. Those waiting to see the fate of the Sonics, big surprise, they're going to have to wait even longer. The NBA Board of Governors pushed back their vote on the future of the Sacramento Kings. The news comes just a few days after an agreement was made to use Key Arena as the temporary home of the Kings if they moved to Seattle. The Kings would play 2 seasons in Key Arena while the new arena was being built. Over the past 2 days, Major League Baseball has been paying tribute to an American hero, Jackie Robinson. It was over 60 years ago Robinson became the first African American to play in Major League Baseball. Robinson's legacy is celebrated by Major League Baseball each year as all players wear Robinson's iconic number 42. Stay tuned for a shopping spree and puppies after the break. How can you go wrong with that?
We have our reporter Dani Van Slyke live in the control room with an exception. What's the story, Dani?
Well, Alex, as you know, WSU does not have the best sports reputation. However, there is one exception to this rule because this team repeatedly goes to nationals. 2 teams, 30 players, scrums, tackles, and an oddly shaped ball are just a few pieces of the puzzle that make up a rugby game. Football and basketball at Washington State University are known as the money sports. Although they bring in the money, they aren't bringing in the wins like the WSU women's rugby team. Senior Carly McKinnon described how fortunate she is to have joined the team when she did.
That was the year after the team had won the national championship title, so I was pretty fortunate to come onto a team that was serious about the sport and wanted to compete. This year things have actually worked out for us for once, and I think we have a really good shot at winning the title.
The team started in the fall of 1982. Despite their hard work fundraising, practicing, and winning, they have received little recognition from the university and students. Out of the last 5 years, the team has gone to nationals 4 times. Making that happen has been no easy task for the evolving team.
We've done A lot of concessions for basketball, football, stuff like that. It's kind of like a second job. Doing all the work to raise the money, I think, gives us even more drive to do our best in the season because we work so hard to get there.
The team is currently recognized as a club sport through the university, but due to their success, they will be recognized as a Division I sport as of next season.
As a team that has won a national championship and repeatedly goes to postseason, Final Four, it would be great to actually be recognized by the school as an actual school sport and not just a club sport. I'm not sure if that's realistic right now. I think we're really excited for next year. We're going to be a D1 sport, so that's a step in the right direction.
The past 2 seasons, the team has mostly been made up of rookies to the team and to the sport. Because of the freshness of their team, it has made holding their spot in nationals difficult. Teammates agree that their camaraderie has pulled them through once again.
I mean, we were slow starting. We had a lot of newbies this year. We were a pretty fresh team, and so it was a little nerve-wracking trying to teach everyone how to play and everything. That's the hardest part, I think. But I mean, they surprised me in how well they've played the game.
This year is actually a little bit different from other years because our numbers and our scores are huge. It's a lot different than before. Before it was a little bit closer, but like I said, it's been a huge point differential, and so it's really exciting.
The team is ranked #1 in the nation as it heads into the national championship, which is held at Stanford. Although the road to get here has been rough, the team is confident about bringing home the victory one more time. Week, which sadly places the competition on graduation day. Although seniors on the team think it's a bittersweet day, they are hoping to not only bring home a diploma, but also a national victory. Back to you at the desk.
That was Dani Van Slyke live in the control room. Thanks, Dani. As Catholics around the world celebrate the election of new Pope, Dani Van Slyke has more on the story. Dani?
Thanks, Alex. So it took 2 days and 5 votes to elect the Pope this week. Bergoglio is the first non-European Pope, and his Argentinian background is shining a new light on the Catholic Church and changing the way that the public views him. The Catholic Church is changing the way Catholics view the Pope. Francis is turning a new leaf for the Church and walking among the public. Inspired by his name, Pope Francis is basing his beliefs off those of St. Francis and living more simply.
I was watching some of the video when he came out of the church, and obviously he seems very personable. It was really connecting with the people.
Yesterday, the Pope delivered his first Mass to thousands of Catholics in Vatican City. His cheerful delivery also made him more relatable to the people in the square.
One of the problems that the Catholic Church has had is that they were so high and we were, a little bit too low.
The election of Francis came as a surprise to some people because of his Argentine background. However, it displays how the Catholic Church is changing and also connects more Catholics around the world with the first non-European Pope. The views of Francis are different from those of other popes. He wishes to relate to the public more and live a simpler life. Basing his values as Pope off St. Francis is really bringing Catholics together. They are hopeful that Francis will bring great changes to the church by having a more relaxed outlook. Back to you guys at the desk.
Dani Van Slyke live in the control room. Thanks, Dani.
He's a winner. He's the best one here, hands down by far.
Very excited, very excited.
Stoked. And we judge each band based on originality, overall performance, and we also have a small percentage of audience participation.
Lyrics, right. I wrote the lyrics to that song, and it came out so honest that as I'm performing it, I can tell you it now and it'll all be relevant, you know. So I really like that song. And Megan Brown, who's a female vocalist in our group, has a really cool counter melody at the end that puts a cool groove on it. So all day.
We're here at the Cubs Senior Ballroom for the 8th annual Battle of the Bands. The Student Entertainment Board puts on this event every year where bands battle it out for the opening spot at Springfest. For the Murrow News, I'm Dani Van Slyke. You may not think that cowboys and poetry would go together, but the artisans at the Damen Barn prove that they are an entertaining pair. Located in Uniontown and known for their elaborate fence, the artisans at the Damen Barn played host to a cowboy poetry reading. This year's event featured a variety of poets and singers from the surrounding area.
I have written cowboy songs for a few years, and I wanted to come down in hopes of networking with some of the cowboy poets in the club down here and get exposed to some a little more diverse experiences.
Since 6 years ago, the barn has hosted musical and artistic events. Store manager Julie Hartwig says the venue has been embraced by the community.
The community members love it. It's a place for them to come either for concerts or just hang out with the artists. And we have community members stopping all the time just hanging out with the artists, and it intrigues them to try painting a little bit or doing pastels or watercolor, something that they've never done before. So.
Once a month, the Damen Barn changes their art exhibit and showcases a different local artist. Over 125 local artists' work is currently displayed in their gift shop. More events, like cowboy poetry, are in the near future at the artisans at the Damen Barn. Next week, the barn will host Uniontown's annual Sausage Festival. Artisans at the Damen Barn is definitely a hidden gem here in Uniontown. Artists from around the Palouse area come here to showcase their work, ranging from paintings all the way to singing, with local events happening every month. For the Murrow News Service, I'm Dani Van Slyke.